You show up day after day, you put in the work, you sweat, you grind, you're being consistent, just like everyone told you to be. But when you look in the mirror, nothing's changed. The numbers on your lifts haven't budged in months. It feels like you're running on a treadmill to nowhere, and it's beyond frustrating. But what if I told you the problem isn't your effort, but the strategy you're consistent with? Blindly showing up is just one of the several traps people do for years. You might be falling for the progressive overload myth, training for strength when you just want aesthetics, or sabotaging your gains by ignoring recovery. These are the real answers holding you back. In this video, we are going to fix these mistakes, and I'm going to give you the blueprint for training smarter so your hard work finally pays off. Hi, my name is Boris Kish. I'm an IFBB license coach, professional nutritionist, and a super heavyweight bodybuilding competitor in the over 100 kilograms category, which is over 220 pounds on stage. I'm 6'4" tall, which is 193 centimeters. Welcome to my channel. And I would like to divide this to you in 7 brutal myth messages. So what is truth? What's actually not truth? Actually, what's not truth and what is truth? Really, number one, people never reach their potential because they never stay consistent, right? You heard this million of times, and usually people are telling you consistency is the key. It's just enough that you show up and time will do everything by itself. And this is honestly 100% not true. Yes, of course, if you're skipping the gym as well as everything else in life, you're going to get nowhere. I mean, bodybuilding is not a sprint, it's a marathon. This is actually also going to be one of the points that I'm going to explain you today. And this is the brutal truth. But just showing up is not gonna do any kind of serious problems. I mean, a lot of natural lifters are not failing at building muscles, being jacked, getting bulked, because properly bulked with muscles, because they are not consistent. It's because they're doing always the same stuff over and over and over. And I mean, if you don't have a proper strategy, and if you don't have a proper plan, I mean, if you consistently do the same mistakes, you're consistently going to go nowhere. Number 2 is, program hooping. Pick a plan, right, and stick to it. It means, you can have a proper plan and stick with it, forever. I mean, I would honestly like to tell you, I, with my experience of 25 years plus since I started going to the gym with 17, am not changing my plan, but because, I really got used to it. I know what works for me, I know what doesn't work for me, and therefore I'm not changing it for a while. I do some adjustments, here and there, But the main answer to this message is, you're not supposed to change your plan every 6 weeks or 2 months or 3 months. But if you're blindly, following a plan that is not giving you results, then, you're not going to progress. The program has to be, adjusted to the body, recovery, your, how can I say, years in the gym that you spent, your stress, your level of training experience. Everything is extremely important, So the answer here is you are not supposed to, grab a plan and stick with it forever, but also it's not good if you change it every 6 months. So therefore the sweet point is change until you find what really works for you. But you wouldn't know what really works for you if you change the plan every 6 weeks. That's completely logical, right? Number 3 is, progressive overload is optional. You have to do progressive overload no matter what. And yes, progressive overload is extremely important. It's without any doubt, but it's not only important that you put more weights on the plates and that you grab a bigger dumbbells. I mean, yes, it's important. I mean, if you don't increase the weight, you won't give the stimulus to muscles that they grow, but you know, progression is a must-have. But as I said, not only putting plates on the bar, you know, because you know, most people, you know, have to understand that, you know, the progression is coming with the proper technique. Hopefully that's the right word in English, you know, control, volume, tempo, and you know that you really controlling the negatives and that you really, you know, doing this in certain amount of time, you know, till you finish the set. Otherwise, you know, you will just get injured or into stagnation. I mean, if you're chasing only more volume every training, you're not going to progress. So again, the sweet spot, you have to increase the weight, but you really have to adjust every other parameter in progressive overload, not just putting more weights if you want to progress. This is why it's called progressive overload, because of all the factors, excuse me, that are important when you put them all together. And of course, if you want to take a training split to the next level, I made 3 complete training splits. The link is below. Join my coaching newsletter and I'm going to send them straight to your email. Number 4 is you only need 3-4 good workouts per week. And yes, I mean, this is what I'm also teaching. I honestly have 4 to 5. I'm looking at, you know, that I have 5, but now I'm 42 years old. And honestly, you know, I'm trying to, you know, decrease the tempo, decrease the days that I spend in the gym. Hopefully I said that good, you know, to 4, because I feel that's already too much. The body is not able to perform that good, you know, and to recover that good even on pads, you know. So not that I sound like a hypocrite, because, you know, I have videos where I'm explaining 4 trainings per week, when I'm explaining 3 trainings per week, also 1 training per week. Now listen, my friend, 3 to 4 trainings per week is enough, okay? But you know, if they really properly adjust and if you really know what you're doing, I mean, for some people this is enough. For example, not that I brag about myself, but for an advanced lifters like me, 4 workouts per week is more than enough. For some lifters who are really into strength and power, it's also too much, you know. There is no universal frequency, but for example, for somebody who is completely new, it's not a mistake if he trains every day or 6 times per week, you know, if he's a complete beginner, until he really finds what's good for him, you know. Number 5 is strength and aesthetics go hand in hand, you know. That is this truth or is this a myth? You have to understand, you know, you have to know why you are going to the gym. You know, if you're just, and write me that in the comment section, I would really like to know. Are you going more for the pump? Is strength really important for you? Or just that you look good, you know? But let's get back to the topic. I want to tell you, no, strength and aesthetics are not the same. I mean, if you are, how can I say, if bodybuilder is using weights to stimulate the muscles and powerlifter is using muscles to move the weights, you know, so it's completely different approach. When I started, as I was, I think, explaining in my previous video, I wanted to be both, okay? But, you know, honestly, I mean, as I said, if your goal is just that you look good, that you look balanced, that you look lean, you have to understand that you don't have to be extremely powerful for that. Yes, strength is important, but you don't have to overkill yourself. And for example, if you are chasing the strength, if you really want to be the strongest that you can be, my channel is not primary for that, but then, you know, you cannot lift like a bodybuilder. Therefore, the main point is you don't have to be extremely strong unless you really don't want to be a super heavyweight bodybuilding competitor to look great and jacked and properly balanced, symmetrical and lean, by the way. Number 6 is bulking, to do bulking or not to do bulking. I would like to tell you, this is a huge mistake that I made in the past, and I really want to share this with you so that you don't do this mistake. There is no bulking, okay? Bulking doesn't exist. It's the stupidest thing that I ever did. Probably the only thing that I would really like that I didn't do in that amount, because you have to understand muscle grows, as I explained, from progressive overload and from enough protein sources that you put inside you. I would say around 3 grams per kilogram. But if you put more food than your body actually needs, protein on the side, protein is a must-have, you're not going to put more muscle tissue. Do you understand? You're going to just get bloated and you're going to put more fat. The body grows when you're stimulating it to grow. I mean, if you there is this, I don't know who said, I think Rich Piana, and I like Rich Piana, may he rest in peace, but to be big, you have to eat big, eat more. I don't believe in that, because if you eat more, you're not going to get bigger from eating more. You're going to get bigger from resting more and training harder. So the only bulk that makes sense is a little slight deficit, suffixit. Then you actually need a little bit more carbs and fats. Protein always stay high, and that you pack those muscles slowly and surely. My philosophy is always better 2 kilos of pure muscles. Grab 2 kilos meat, or 4 pounds, 4.5. It's not little amount, right? Per year, then, 10, 20 kilos or 40 pounds of fat, and then you later have to get shredded, and then you lose that, and then you lose the muscles that you put, and then look like shit afterwards. You understand that. Stress is important, hormones are important, sleep is important, calorie only by themselves are not a solution. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button for more real, no fluff fitness advice, and I'm really going to appreciate it. Number 7 is fitness is a marathon, not a sprint. Fitness, bodybuilding, going to the gym, how would you like to call it? And this is partly true, partly not. This is why I was explaining at the beginning of this video. Yes, you cannot expect, if you're natural or non-natural, especially if you're natural, that you will progress overnight, okay? But as I said, if you follow these rules that I told you, till the beginning of 2027, you can get super jacked and super lean. Just don't overeat. You will be lean, eat clean. Of course, you will lose all the unnecessary fat. And what does this mean actually, marathon topic, right? Just think about this. If you're running without navigation or cycling or driving whatsoever, you're, not going to end up at the finish line. You're going to end up in another city, if you understand me, So longevity also requires, brain effort, a lot of intelligence, and not only patience. Yes, you require patience. It's a must-have, but without proper structure. Ronnie Coleman had on his wall when he was doing cardio, Ronnie Coleman, 8-time Mr. Olympia, the best bodybuilder of all times, if you ask me. If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got, right? The same is with this. Yes, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Sorry for me repeating this, but it's really important that you understand this. But always have a proper strategy, as with everything else in life, And if you want to learn about how only one hard working set can be enough for optimal muscle growth, I recommend that we continue on this video right here, and I'll see you there.